She shat in this man's bed.
I know,
right?
so it's hard to like. It's like Amber. You have to. You understand? You're competing with shitting in his bed. I need you to give me something here.
But like on the other hand, like she was saying that like he was abusive and like he would hit her and stuff.
Which is what we've been hearing, yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't know if I should believe her. But then this goes back to what I said last episode, where it's like he's so charming and he says certain things a certain way that like it makes it really hard to believe Amber when she brings shit up. And he's just been so cocky about the whole thing, and that's what I felt a little cringy about. And so like when I listen to her, like the way they're characterizing her now about the whole thing is they're saying like, oh, she's putting on a real performance, like, you know, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm not paying attention as much as I probably should be.
Yeah, that's valid.
But at the same time, it's very hard for me to listen to somebody claim that they've been abused in a certain way and then like be like, none of it is true, none of it happened, and just have no knowledge of that for myself, of like that situation.
Well, that's going to be the case regardless because we aren't there.
Right.
So I know it's hard, yeah.
But the level at which people are like, nah, she a lying bitch. Like, you know, like
yeah, it's a little extreme.
That, I don't know. See, that does not make me feel confidence in that.
Well, here's the thing, I mean? You know. No, funny enough, I do agree with you, even though I don't like her. But the reason I don't like her isn't to do with the relation between her and Johnny. No, it actually isn't the shitting in the bed either. It's the literal vocal snippet of her saying, "Take it to trial, Johnny. No one will believe you." It doesn't have to do with her character. Doesn't have to do with his. Once again, I wasn't in the relationship. The fact is, he has evidence, full on evidence of her saying that. And now it's hard for me to believe her. Not because of anything else. Not because of the shitting in the bed. Literally because that's there. You said that shit. It's hard for me to believe you on anything.
I understand that. And I feel that. But that doesn't mean that
further, I'm not trying to disregard her.
Put a 1-2 piece on her. You know what I mean?
Maybe, but here's the other thing. The other thing is it's hard for me to believe you, and so I'm not going to deny it's possible Johnny did that. But the fact of the matter is that's not what the case is about. This isn't in a spousal abuse case, a domestic abuse case that Amber Heard has brought up. If she had, maybe I'd look at things differently. If she was able to provide evidence, which is hard to do. The fact is, it's a defamation trial against Amber Heard.
Yes, but the defamation would be like, you said all this shit and it wasn't true. Like, that's defaming your character. But
on
if
Johnny or Amber?
But if on I don't know, you just fucking confused me. But just let me write it out. Shit.
Okay, all right. Well, damn, this actually makes some sense.
If you said a bunch of shit about me and it's true, then you didn't defame my character. That is my character. So like, if I said that you put your hands on me and you actually did, and then I told everybody about it, that's not defamation. If you actually put your hands on me. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, no, true. If you actually did it,
like, imagine Will Smith being like, "Oh, you defaming my character because you told everybody I slapped." It was like, we saw you, nigga. Like,
we saw you slap. Yeah,
you know, that's your character now. Like,
you know what I mean? And
we can support your character, or we can be like, "Oh, I don't support it," but like, it is.
But unless it actually happened, then we're not defaming at all. Like, if I say Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, that isn't defamation because we have all the evidence.
That's some shit that happened.
But to that, unfortunately, this is legal. We weren't there. We do have to choose who we choose to believe in and whatnot. And the fact is, if Amber, because Johnny Depp saying Amber Heard has defamed my character. Now, to the credit in terms of the case, my man brought up a lot of evidence that makes it seem like he's telling the truth. Now, for her, I need that same
telling
thing.
The truth, though, to be
but
honest.
It's not about if they're both telling the truth. It's about if they can both prove they're telling the truth. And Amber,
no, you're right.
I'm waiting for. No, that's just, and that's not. Right. I'm not happy about that. I'm just that's the factual truth, and that's why I said I didn't say I took Amber's side. I want to, like I said, I want to see what she's saying. I want to see what evidence there is, because for the both of you, obviously there was some bullshit going on between y'all. The fact is, y'all have to prove to me your side. Johnny's presented a better case, and now we're hearing her side. I hope she presents. If Johnny is the abuser, as you're saying he is, I hope you have some evidence. Because to his credit, my man provided a lot of evidence. Provided a lot of evidence, bro. It's really hard for me to be like,
what you're saying is you're more convinced by Johnny's evidence than Amber's.
At the moment, in terms of the case, in terms of who they are as people, I'd have to speak to the both of them. You know what I mean? And then I'd have to gauge that by what I'm feeling, by what my gut's telling me, which I'll probably never have the opportunity to do. But the fact is, we're not here to talk about like how I feel. Like, this is court now. This is legal. I need you to provide evidence. If you have any evidence, do you have a police report? Do you have a hospital record? Something. You know what I mean? Can you provide any? Because this isn't about how I feel about your characters.
Beyond that, she did say that, like, you know, he like wrote in blood about her being a slut and all this and that. Like, you know, on the mirrors and shit. Like, that's a lot. And I mean, it's Johnny Depp, but it's still a lot. Like, anybody, like,
and so the other
how much of a whore and a cunt and a slut you are, and like the mirrors and shit, like in their own blood, like that's some dedication. So it's like
it's a lot, to be honest.
But
you know, here's another thing we're doing, and so funny enough, because you had mentioned you're like Johnny Depp. You know, he's so charismatic and charming. Johnny Depp's also a weirdo. Depp's also a weirdo, as we know. So it would be on some level like, because even you're doing it now, even though you're not like going all the way, you're like, I can see him doing that shit.
Right. Yeah.
I can see him doing that shit. But would he do that shit? Like, he's an actor. He's played a weirdo. Does that mean that's some shit he would do? And if he has, I'm surprised, Amber, because it's looking to me like y'all got to a point where I was like, I gotta record. Like, you wouldn't take a snapshot of that shit? Even if he was there trying to stop you?
No, I think she did take pictures of something. Like, I don't remember seeing the pictures of but I think she did take pictures of him, like, trashing the rooms and shit. And like,
really, like, getting real crazy.
But, you know, that's the other thing. Like, Johnny is, like, fake rock star type person, you know what I mean? Like, he's not an actual rock star, but he lives like,
but he looks like he could be, and he did some shit like that.
He might trash a room just because that's him, but like that doesn't make it right. But that's him.
No,
you know what
but
I mean?
Also, if he just trashed the room in a house that was his, now y'all in a relationship, obviously that would not make you comfortable, of course, and you shouldn't have to deal with that. But nonetheless, in terms of abusing you, hear me out. If he trashed a room out of anger because y'all was going through some issues and he didn't know how to handle, okay, not saying it's right, not saying you have to deal with that, but unless he put hands on you,
no.
Like, I know, no, that's me. No, unless he physically abused you,
that you also go to jail for that. But you can't. No,
if you're in your own home and you trash a room without any.
No, you can't just like, because that's what men do when they like like they don't hit you, but they like threaten you by like breaking shit and punching walls and shit. This is like, that's abusive behavior.
Abusive behavior, true, but. She's having to prove, well, in terms of the abuse, because now, hear me out. Are we we're saying just all forms of abuse then? Because she has to prove all of that?
Well, that is the wildest fucking question I've ever been asked.
I mean, bro, like it's complicated.
All forms of abuse?
Because it's hard to prove all forms of abuse.
I think one would be enough, but like
no, not in this case, unfortunately.
Male answer. Fuck you.
No, that's valid. That's valid. It's just that because for me, it's like, but listen, I have issues too.
Yeah, that was my issue last week when I was saying it's like a lot of this comes down to like how we feel about women in general. Like, it doesn't really have anything to do with the case so much. So a lot of shit that doesn't have anything to do with the case gets thrown on it. Like, how do we feel about not just Amber Heard, but how do we feel about women? How do we feel about Johnny Depp and how do we feel about men and what men should be able to get away with? You know what I mean?
I know, so but it was different for this case because before everyone took her side.
Yes, but also it's like, to me, I feel like they're in an abusive relationship. I think it's enough.
Now, when you say that, you just mean in general the couple is just abusive and not good for their toxic couple.
Yeah, it's a toxic situation.
No, that's valid.
It's an abusive situation. I feel like both sides are abusive. I'm sorry, Claire, that, you know, I fought so vehemently in the past. But I feel like, that this is not a good thing. And I feel like this is not a good situation. I feel like it's pretty abusive. I feel like it's abusive in that, like, yeah, you shouldn't be shitting on people's beds, but like you get caught into that cyclone of like just being horrible to each other. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so like there is an abusive spiral that happened there. And I feel that I can't exempt Johnny from that just because I look at Amber and the shit that she did was horrible. Like if Johnny was doing horrible shit too, then like I don't see how like I would be on that jury and be like, yeah, he wins the case just because I don't like Amber. Like,
no, once again, I hope that isn't the case because this is why I said in the beginning, like, this isn't about how we feel. Mm-hmm. What's the you guys brought it to this level. This case isn't about how we feel about their character. It's a court.
Yeah.
What evidence can you provide to show me who I need to,
like if you're showing that, like, he's raging around and like, because you guys had an argument or a disagreement, he's raging, he's like calling you names and text messages and shit. Like this is abusive behavior. Like I don't know all the things that he said that she said that were wrong per se, but or what's the minute details of the defamation case is what I'm trying to say. I don't know, right. But like from the macro sense, like I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is a person that, if you're showing me a room that he tore up because of the fact, like, it's not like Johnny said, nah, she tore that shit up too. Like she's saying, you know what I'm saying? Like she's saying that he tore it up and he's not saying anything about it. He's like, yeah, I kind of did that shit.
Well, so wait. He can unless he's on the stand. Like,
no, they can object. They can like say that, hey, like your lawyers your lawyers don't say anything as not to incriminate you, but also if you did that shit, they also don't say anything as not to incriminate you.
No, but that isn't necessarily how an objection works. Like if you're gonna object while someone's on the stand stating what's supposed to be their truth.
Cross-examination, nobody says anything.
Well, I haven't seen the case, so I'm low-key asking because I'm saying you can't just be because if a witness is saying something that they say to be true, if you're a lawyer and you're gonna object, unless Johnny's like, imagine if that's just something that Johnny didn't even speak about because it's like, yo, lawyer, tell me everything you've done. Johnny didn't bring that up because he didn't do it. How do you object directly? Like you have to have a reason. Like you can't just be like, I object. That was never, client never brought that up because that looks bad on you. So I don't know. That's a weird one.
I don't know. You just make up some shit to object to. That's what they fucking did.
You're not trying to make up
that's
shit.
What they fucking did on in the OJ case. It's like they was like, we'll just object to every fucking thing they say, and they did that shit. So it's like, if your lawyers are good enough, like you can.
It don't seem like anybody's lawyers have been too good. Like Johnny's just has evidence. It don't seem like the lawyers have been actually great at all. But though that's the thing,
Amber's lawyers are some dumbasses. Like
bro, that's all
she has to come
like.
save this case by herself. Like it's bad. It's really bad.
But Logan, it may not be their dumbasses because there's the other thing. It may be lawyers was like, all right, what you got? And she was just like, nothing. But
I don't think she has nothing. No, see, I'm not really.
Logan, no, and I'm not asking you or forcing you to believe. I'm just saying because this is court. This is no longer like, once again, this isn't me, you, he say, she say.
But
this
she
is
has
court.
Evidence. That's what I'm saying. Like she has pictures and
but
stuff.
You're saying
like that.
which I want to see. Obviously, it's just you're like, why aren't they doing more? And it's like,
no, I'm not saying why aren't they doing more. I'm just talking about the public perception and like how we take the case, and that like, when we're looking at things, we're looking at people like. I don't know. Well, I feel like it's more of an allegory for how we are in a society than anything else.
I was actually just speaking to her lawyers being dumbasses. That's what I was speaking directly to.
They're dumb as fuck.
No, I'm saying, Logan, they may not be as dumb as we think. They might not have much to go on, is what I'm saying.
But if you don't, that's what makes you dumb. Because if you don't have, this is like the old
it's
adage.
Court, Logan.
No. It's like as I've always said, if you don't have anything to say, shut the fuck up. Like
that's not like, how it works.
You can work it that way. Like Johnny didn't have anything to say when she was like, yeah, he was fucking up the room. Like don't say shit. Like you don't have to put your mouth out there and look dumber to everybody else. Like if you truly don't have anything to retort with, you don't have anything to say, you don't have a point to make. Like you just opening your mouth just to speak is wasting everybody's time. It just makes you feel annoying, makes you annoying to the jury. if I was sitting on the jury, I'd be fucking annoyed. I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Johnny's making you look like a fool because now you look like a fool. Like, come on. It's like, you're stupid.
We like to think that because it's court, like some people are always competent. Not always the case. Yeah, not always the case. But I'm saying if you're in a situation and imagine you have, Amber's the one technically being prosecuted. And so you're a lawyer like, all right, this is a defamation case. I need everything. And if you don't have much, but your job is to win your case somehow, you might do stupid shit. Is all I'm saying. You might just do stupid shit.
I'm just
saying. Sad as that sounds. As that sounds surprising, you're like, that's a shame. Your face is like, that's a damn shame.
Like, but like Saul Goodman would never. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, if you're just tuning in,
Giancarlo Esposito, right?
Esposito, yeah.
I mean, but he's just so good at what he does. You know what I mean? You don't even care about the lawyer Saul. He's just good at acting.
That's right. Sometimes you gotta do that. That's not how court works. It is how court works because you answer to the jury at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They didn't go to Harvard. Shit.
Put on a show. You remind me of the. If you remember, did you ever see Chicago or watch the musical Chicago at all?
No.
Okay.
I've seen like bits and pieces. Like,
it's fine.
Whenever it's on TV, the one thing I always see is He Had It Coming. That's it.
That is
it's the best part, I guess. If you want to see it,
that's probably like the best musical number.
So like. I think I watched that part and then I fall asleep and then I'm like, I've seen all I need to see. Like,
It's funny enough though that, we're talking about this now because when you bring up Chicago, it's literally kind of this.
It's kind of that, yeah.
It's a whole bunch of like law, she said, he says, and it's like, do you punish women and then one of them actually dies and everybody's like, whoa, and she was the innocent one. And the thing that he brings up is how like court, like it's a he said it himself, Richard Gere's character, Billy Flynn, is like, oh, it's a 3-ring circus. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, especially you look at this case, it's starting to look a little bit like a circus, ain't it?
That's the only reason I would want to be a lawyer is for all the chaos. But that's another thing. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Logan, and this is the Milk and Toast Podcast. I'm here with my best friend, Mitch. Say hi to the people, Mitch.
They had it coming. Dun, dun. They had it coming.
Always on point.
They only had themselves to blame. If you had seen it, if you'd have been there, which we weren't, I bet that you would have done the same. And I'm not exactly sure on that last part, but
you would have shat in somebody's bed. That's what you would do.
Nah.
That's just that's just the wild, like the most intentional thing you could ever do is to shit in a place.
She was trying to
I'm not even gonna say in somebody's bed. Just shitting in a place where you're not supposed to shit.
Yeah, honestly.
like on a desk,
pissing somewhere you're not supposed to piss is one thing, but shitting somewhere you're not supposed to shit.
You can't justify that shit.
Nah, man. Like, come on, bro. Really? Really?
Because I said this to some of my friends. I was like, what do you do? Like, how do you stand over the bed? Like,
yeah, you got to squat.
Do you? Or do you just like Eiffel Tower and just like power stance it?
Well, you could technically.
Because you're angry, right? Yeah. It's an angry shit.
You could.
That's a wild thing to walk into. Like his friend had to text him that picture, and he like,
oh, there was a picture of it?
Hell yeah! You see somebody shit in your bed, you're not gonna take a picture of that shit?
No, I'm talking about did a friend take a picture or?
Yeah, the friend was there at the house, and then he was like, he said it to Johnny. He's like, "You're not gonna believe it.
You're not gonna believe this shit."
Yeah.
Bro,
brother,
bro, I would have been livid. I've been like, why? And see, that's the thing. So it's like, because you're right. It's just, and so that's why I also said, like, I want to see, what evidence that she provides, because I can no longer do he says, she says. It's just all I can say is right now, Johnny's putting up a better case, or his team, they're putting up a better case right now. Like, I mean, you need to fight back. Like, fight back. I don't know what to believe in the first place, but fight back, because it's hard for me to take anything you say seriously because of all the evidence they've put up against you.
She's a woman?
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Okay, we're not doing that. You can talk about it if you would like to, but for me right now, I'm not doing that.
It might be.
No, for me, no. I just wanted to see the evidence.
Our own like misogyny. Like it could be harder to believe a woman because she's a woman.
You could bring up the case,
yeah,
obviously, but I'm speaking about self, and her being a woman has nothing to do with me not believing her.
Let me unpack this for a second. I want to be here. How would you know?
Wow, you just want to take this all the way.
Yeah.
For
That's
me,
what the show's for.
Shut up. Well, for me, how I would know is the fact that when I first started hearing about everything, I didn't take a side because I didn't know. And I was willing to believe her. Remember, they started off with her saying Johnny, and I was like, oh my God, poor woman. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't any lack of me believing her. And then I had evidence got brought up to the contrary, and I was like, oh God, is this one of those small percentages where the woman's actually doing wrong? Because, as is this case, people like to bring up like false rapes and stuff, like they somehow disregard the actual rapes happening. Mm-hmm. No, this isn't like that. I was like, okay, Amber, are you being harmed? Damn, I'm sorry. And you brought this up before. He's Johnny Depp. She's Amber Heard. So it was like easy. And then evidence came up to the contrary. And now I'm seeing the case. And the only place I'm coming from right now has nothing to do with how I feel about the two of them. She was Mara in Aquaman. Mara's actually one of my favorite DC heroines just because she's a water-based. So I was like, and then but now I'm just watching the case and I'm like, fuck. So we now factually know you actually shot in someone's bed. We now factually know the things you said. And the one thing that stands out to me is her being like, no one's going to believe you. It's hard for me to really trust your mental state at this point, but those are the only reasons really. Otherwise, I want to see your case. I want to see the evidence you provide and then paint a prettier picture in terms of what is actually happening between you two. I don't actually know what's happening between you two. It's just right now the evidence doesn't lean in your favor really. But
Johnny,
let me see your side.
Johnny did take his own bodily fluids and write like cunt and slut, and it was somebody he was jealous of that like she was hanging out with.
Now, is this court evidence you've been seeing? Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know. Well, that's fucked up. Jesus Christ. No, but I didn't. And so it's not about her for me, once again, because you could, once again, like I said, you could bring that up for everyone else, and I'm down to be there with you.
I'm giving Mitch the Oprah face, like.
Yeah, like talk to me. And I'm unfazed. I'm unfazed because I got shit to hide. I'm looking at it like, all right, you're going to do, all right, that's what I was. But yeah, it's for me, it wasn't about her being a woman. It's just about what I've been hearing, the evidence I've been seeing. I'm just like, wow. Now I just want to see her side of the case, see what evidence she provides, and then that'll paint the picture. But so it's his, he brought up the defamation trial for multiple reasons. And now she's providing evidence to the contrary. Although on some aspects, it's looking like he may be right, but like now it's looking like they're both like wrong, but it's like.
This is why I asked you the question. Because like he feels like he was wrongly defamed, right? But like it sounds like to me he did a lot of shit. Like he did also a lot of bullshit. And so at what point as men do we look at our part and be like, maybe I should eat an L, Like maybe I should take this one.
It depends.
Because I feel like it is a lot to get over when somebody fucks up your bed. I know. I've been there, right?
Or actually is abusing you and then laughing in your face and saying no one will believe you.
I understand that as well. However, this is not a man that didn't do anything. Not that he needs to justify, like, the abuse should be justified, but in the context of, like, quite possibly, allegedly, was abusive himself in the situation. Right. So it's like, if you're not able to look at your part of the situation, and then when you look at it, you're just like, nah, this person's in the wrong completely to the point where I'm going to sue them for $50 million. That's some high brain male hubris to me at one point or another. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
it depends.
To be like complete, I just feel like there's too much going on in the situation to be like, nah, she was wrong for like saying all this. You know what I mean? That's the only thing for me in the case. It's not that
it depends on you as the individual.
I feel like this is what I feel like. I feel like Amber Heard is a reprehensible individual. Like, she sucks, right?
Okay.
Like, let's get that out the way. That's what I want to say.
Okay.
I'm just like, let's clear the room for a bit. She's horrible. Fuck her, right? But at the same time, Johnny Depp, as likable and cute as he is, was also doing reprehensible shit. You know? And so that's what I mean by, like, is it because she's just a woman that we don't kind of equalize the thing? Because
no, I wouldn't say in this particular, not yet at least.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I'd save that for when the case is fully over, because now...
see what happens. I feel like he's going to win. I feel like he's going to win.
But it's not about whether he wins. It's about all the evidence we're able to see.
It matters.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying, of course, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, in terms of what we're talking about right now, in terms of how we feel about them, in terms of her being a woman and her being a man, I should wait on that until we know as much as we can know, at least, about everything that happened.
Well, I'm looking at just people's reactions to the whole thing.
Well, right now, so lots of people were like, oh my God, Amber, I can't believe you said that, which is true. But a lot of people are also on the fence. It's like you're saying, like Johnny Depp isn't an innocent bystander, which is perfectly understandable. He may not be an innocent bystander, but what this defamation trial is about. So apparently they're both wrong, right? And Amber Heard is now starting to feel some feedback in terms of what could happen to her career. But remember, Johnny's entire life was affected before any of this even happened. So you're talking about, you know, man versus woman in one capacity, but on another side to it, it's like, so Johnny brought up this defamation case, and it's like, so fact is, we don't know who started what, but we know they're both wrong. Yet from the way it looks to me, only Johnny got punished so far. Man got taken off of his film thing.
That's fair.
No, absolutely. It's the one truth we can say. Nothing's happened to Amber. Things are now starting to happen to Amber.
Yeah.
Because of the defamation case, but you want to, on one side, you were like, are we not believing in her on one part as a woman? Fair. On the other side, it's
not that we not believing in her, but just the level that we're taking.
The level of where, sure. Yeah. And once again, I still hear where you're coming from, but then on the other side, it's like, well, as a man, Johnny was immediately punished, and now we're getting information out. It's like, oh wow, like it's looking like it wasn't just him; they're both wrong. Now, does that mean that still wouldn't have happened to him? Sure. But because she was a woman, we all just immediately jumped to her side. Johnny got punished and we didn't believe him. And now we're just now starting to get to the truth about them both being toxic or whatnot. Yeah. So I don't know. It's not exactly one-sided is the point I make here.
I think this is a problem that a lot of people aren't looking at though, is that like, let's say everything came out the way it came out in the beginning, right? Like, I mean, like
you mean
like
what we
now,
know now,
what we know now came out.
What we knew in the beginning.
It was what we knew in the beginning. Nobody would get punished, and
you don't think both of them would get punished?
No.
Well, and I don't mean punished like prison. I just mean you don't think both of them would be dealing with stuff that hurts their
Matter
career
of fact, I think it would be more likely that Amber Heard would have no movies to make, and Johnny Depp would still keep making like Pirates of the Caribbean and all that shit. To be honest,
I actually see where you're going now.
Yeah, which is like, if we knew that like in the beginning, well, I knew, but like if everybody knew in the beginning that like she was shitting on beds and like he was smearing mirrors and shit, and like they were just like yelling and fighting and biting and all this bullshit with each other, like we would look at them as a crazy couple, but people would want to deal with Johnny before they wanted to deal with Amber, and that's what I kind of think about is like, I think at the end of this, Johnny has a career, but Amber not so much. Like that's how I feel about it. Like I feel like that's what's gonna, like, as far as real world consequences, besides whoever owes whoever in a certain amount of money or whatever, real world like specs, Amber won't. I don't think she gets a real career after this if she doesn't win. Like and even if she does win, I'm not sure if she still like kind of has like a man can be justified by the court. I'm not like a woman, not so much all the time, because other men are gonna look at her because she has to work with other men and male producers and shit like that.
Right.
And like, then it'd be like, she's crazy, you know? So it's like, I look at that and I'm just like, I mean, like, as a credit to like the people who was making Aquaman, like the Amber Heard stuff kind of, there was a crack in like the whole thing, and like people had called for Amber Heard to be taken off the movie and they said no, you know? But as it is right now, I don't think she makes another Aquaman.
Well, no, that's valid because of everything. Well,
yeah,
she was the one who originally came out about the abuse, and then on one level she wasn't necessarily lying. On another level, she withheld information. You know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah.
So on one level, I hear where you're coming from, but it's also like you do seem a little bit more, because it's like no one was saying anything. Everyone was keeping their business private, which, as we really know, industries like.
We have to say she allegedly withheld information, because what I want to say is that like it's very hard to see your part when it comes to abuse. It's very hard to see your part as an abuser, even if you're the one that's being abused. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, as I make fun of Johnny for it, but like it's plausible and possible that he doesn't see where his part is in this, even though like the evidence is coming out, this is what your part is. Because he's like, I was in an abusive relationship. It's like, yeah, you were, but you was also abusive, you know? And it can be hard to distinguish what your part is when you're going through that type of trauma. You know what I mean?
Have we been able to establish, because I haven't been too in depth with the case, because it's hard for me to really look at it, because I'm just like, people are gross. But have we really established like where the abuse began? Because when you're in an abusive relationship, and this is to either or of them.
Yeah, I don't know about
that.
And
that's hard. But either or of them, because it's like when you're in an abusive relationship, people like to pretend like, oh, and it depends on the relation, it depends on who it's happening to. But sometimes people get into this habit like, oh, someone's being abused, they just sat there and took the abuse. No, sometimes you're going to be like, yo, I'm going to do this because of everything you've been doing to me. And we have that relationship. So it's hard sometimes because we can't establish like where all this started and why they're getting into this fights, because they chose to stay together through all this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so it's like, the other thing about abusive relationships is that you don't think you're in one, even if it's going on like that, and you feel like it's just something that you can like fucking fix.
Which is valid, but like you brought it to a court now, so at some point it's just
that's after the relationship is
I know,
over,
of course, after the fact. It's just that I'm just saying, because it's like, damn, you don't think you're in it, but it's like
until it's too late. Yeah,
and we have to. So at some point now, for us on the outside, it's like, because we're in a case now, it's like we have to draw some type of picture of like where things began, who was wrong, because it's like when you said you was okay with Chris Rock slapping Will Smith. Reason being,
reverse that.
Or Will Smith. You're right, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. Thank you, actually. Thank you very much. But it's like, the reason being, because now we don't think what either of them did was okay, but the reason being is because you thought what Chris Rock did, the retaliation that came from Will Smith, kind of leveled things out. Yeah. You know what I mean? On some level. And on some regards, we haven't been able to get to any type of grounds with that in terms of their case. Because you're like, oh, because the truth is, you're like, she sat in that man's bed? Why? What was he doing that made her do that?
Not that. I'm not going to say what was somebody doing to make abuse happen.
I'm not saying that's what you're trying to... Yeah, you get what I'm saying,
I get what you're saying, though. Is like, where did this start, though? And who started what?
Because like, that's what we really... To take a side, that's what we really want to know. You want to know the whole story.
I don't feel like taking a side on this one. Like, I feel like I want to remove myself from it. Like, especially like this type of case. I feel like that I still have my same feelings from last week, where like people should slow the fuck down and like stop.
And like listen first.
Yeah, stop taking cool. Johnny's like word on everything just because, like I said, he's cute and charming. Like it's like,
which is fair, but once again, it wasn't just that. Like we heard some things that were like, yo, and that's the reason some people are like, wow, because it was just horrible.
The messenger matters. The messenger matters. Like if somebody tells you that Amber Heard, like if you told me that like a couple of years ago, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, you know? But then I'd also like probably like look it up myself, but I wouldn't believe you right away. But like Johnny Depp comes in, he's like, dripping like, hey, like,
oh my God, bro. It's so hard for me not to, because like I want to take you serious because it's a valid point, and then you describe Johnny. It's like, well, he's Johnny Depp, and all Johnny Depp is like, I'm Captain Jack Sparrow.
Captain Jack Sparrow, mate.
Like, oh, and it's like it's not fair.
This one just shitting in my bed. Can you believe that? it's like I might believe some shit. I'd be like, oh, fuck.
Well, to my earlier statement, so I wouldn't say then take a side, but the fact is, we wish we had the full picture so we could know the truth.
Yeah.
Because that's what court's about. No, don't. Yeah, that's what court is about. That's what we want. We want the truth. We want to know why. And we want to know the severity of the situation, who we really should be like taking issue with, who really needs help and whatnot. And we can't get that, which is why people pick sides in the first place.
No, I get that.
That's the only real reason. We don't actually know the full fact, the full truth.
You know who died recently?
Kevin Samuels. Don't do it like that, bro. Everybody's like, I'm so happy he died, bro, and all this shit. It's like, he was still a person. He was still a human being.
Don't make me laugh.
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to, but you literally became the meme, bro.
I want to laugh because the man is dead.
You're the one laughing. Condolences to Kevin Samuels' family.
I hate you.
Don't you hate me? This is you the one. All this bullshit. I ain't do shit.
I just said, who died, and then you had to smile and say Kevin Samuels. So
I mean, the way you brought it up is just, it felt like it was leaning a certain way. Condolences to Kevin Samuels' family.
Why?
To the family, because they still, I imagine, cared about him. I'm not going to lie and say, your family member Kevin Samuels represented himself in the best of ways. But,
condolences to his
But condolences
family.
to you. You know what I mean? That's a family member you grew up with. He meant something more important to you than who he became.
Like him
Potentially, but that's none of our business. That's theirs.
You're right.
Maybe later on in life, his mother was potentially disappointed in him. That's not our business. That's between her and him. She still raised him and remembered him as a boy that might have been loving and caring and stuff. It's funny. We get so angry at people. You know what I mean? But it's like, depending on what they did. And don't get me wrong, what Kevin Samuels did was gross, but it's not like he was fucking Hitler, bro.
Does he have to be? Can he just be horrible? Yeah. Can he just be a horrible fucking person that we just don't fucking like?
There's levels to the shit for me. There's severity.
Okay, this is what I don't like. This is part of the reason why I brought it up. I saw a lot of takes that are like, damn, you got to be like that just because, like, he said some shit and, like, you didn't like it. And it's like, no, it's because the shit he said was, like, really horrible. And, like, it really does affect people and how they think and how they, like, treat other people in the real fucking world.
Valid.
Like, so, yeah, he is kind of, like, fucking horrible. Like, and it's like, do we have to take it to the level where, like, somebody is Hitler? No, but like, how many? Like, I hate the Hitler example because there's only one Hitler.
No,
do you know what I mean?
There's technically been multiple. Like there's Hitler,
there's like
there's Idi Amin, there's Benito Mussolini.
There's like a handful of people who are just as horrible as Hitler is, and then like we live on a planet with like 7 to 8 billion other individuals who are not all saints themselves. You know what I mean? Like, there are people in every country, every city, every town, fucking most of the houses you live in, there's horrible fucking people in there. And if they just ended up missing, you probably wouldn't miss them. So it's like, like I don't have to like stretch my mind all the way to the Third Reich to be like, oh man, like he wasn't that. Like, no, it's like there's people at your job right now that if you never saw them again, you would breathe a sigh of relief.
That doesn't mean you would wish death upon them, though, Logan.
But if they turned up, like I mean, like
that's just a difference of opinion when you ask me. That's just how I feel. But like, I can't fault you for how you feel. But
I feel like people like to use decency and polite culture against people who are actually decent and polite. A lot of the time, like I feel like that's an abuse tactic to be
wait against people who are. Or do you mean people who aren't decent and polite?
No, like when horrible people see like good people trying to be good, and then they're like, "Oh, shouldn't you be good while I'm being bad?" And it's just like, what? Like, what the fuck are you talking about right now? And it's like, no, like me having an offensive or like, and I don't mean offensive as in like offensive, but like having like not playing defense against like evil is okay because you're fucking evil. Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine that. Imagine World War II. Since we're talking about Hitler, imagine World War II and all the Allies did was they just fucking played defense the whole time. Never tried to gain any ground. Never tried to incur into any territory.
Not to offend anyone, but when you look at it, that's kind of what happened. That's kind of what was happening.
That is not what happened.
I mean, let's see. Germany basically takes Poland, Normandy. The French need help. It's almost like they was playing defense until America. It was really only what happened. The Axis had fucked up somehow. I mean, something happened in Italy. Japan.
I think what happened over here for no reason. Hitler was supposed to take a left and he took a right, and like
seems to me like honestly like all the Allies was doing was playing defense. Not to fault your example.
That's different when you're like trying to play offense and like someone
keeps fucking up,
like their hands are too fast. Like, you know, like
God damn. Yeah, we just sitting there back like fight back, Poland, fight back. All right, that's horrible. That's horrible.
You get like a couple of good hits in, you know, then like, you know.
Oh damn. Yo, all right, put my money back on Germany because Poland ain't
just to take it there every time. Ah, the man wasn't Hitler. It's like he was horrible. Like he was horrible to people in his own community. He was horrible to black women. He was horrible to fat black women. He was horrible to gay people. He was horrible to a lot of different types of people.
I didn't watch too much, so for me, all I could ever, because he would honestly, I would just laugh because I thought it was just comedy. But honestly, to me, it just seemed like he had a perspective that he was harsh about. I didn't know about
that. That's a real way to water that down, Mitch.
To me, I'm not even trying to. That's all I could. That's honestly the only thing I would say about Kevin Samuels is
he told a woman she didn't deserve a man because she looked like a linebacker. Like, come on. Like, come on.
And all I could do was laugh, bro. I'm sorry, bro.
That's really fucked up. We gotta act like this. Should we act like we missed this person? Like, this is what I want to know.
Some people probably do, just because they go for that
all
type
right,
of
but
thing.
Let their ashy, dusty asses miss him. Like, I don't gotta fucking miss some horrible ass asshole. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yo, I wasn't telling you to miss him. I was just saying it's about not stooping to certain levels, bro. Sure, he was a harsh fucking bigot.
That's where I'm like, nah.
I know that's where you're at. That's not where I'm at,
people don't
get
to tell you. No, I'm going to tell a lot of, let me put y'all on game. You don't gotta listen to people when they talk about don't stoop to my level. Stoop to the level. Whatever level when somebody actively out their mouth says don't have to stoop to this level, don't have to stoop to my level, stoop right to their level, because what they're saying is you don't have to stoop to the level where I'm getting over on you. Like, just go right down there. Go right down to the basement.
Now
fuck them up down there.
Now, everyone, I just want you to have a little patience with Logan. His spirit animal is Medea, obviously, and he needs some help. He needs a little bit of help. So don't take him completely at face value. He makes some valid points, but don't take him completely at face value.
No, take me at face value.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You know why? Because they say don't go to my level because they brought it there. Like, they took it there, and then they don't want you to be there too.
Not even talking about them, because you don't have to listen to them at all.
All right.
But do well for yourself.
Meanwhile, where's Kevin Samuels or some girl like cries herself into the corner and then slits her wrist because he called her too fat to have a husband?
Well, now where's Logan, he at? Now he's dead.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Well, now he's dead. you mad, but like, where's he at? Well, that girl killed herself, poor girl, but now he's dead.
I don't like the idea that words aren't harmful by the people who use words as harm. Like, you know?
Well, no one's saying that, because that isn't the case, as you brought up, and I'm not denying either. Like I said, he had his perspective, but like I said, he was harsh.
But his perspective was harmful. That's what, you can't just say the man had everybody has a perspective, Mitch.
No, I said he was very harsh in terms of how he went about his perspective, which for me would be the most true.
Wasn't good.
Hey, I'm not saying it was.
Perspective.
Not saying it was, man. But, you know what's worse about it, Logan?
What?
Is that you say that. It's like he would always be mean. Except those same people would always, for some fucking reason, come back to this man's show. I don't understand how you could be a black woman in general, having heard all the episodes of you heard this man speak and how he talks down, and then be like, I could come on the show and, you know, I could do better, or I could make him understand, when he literally did not care about you.
It's the ego.
Yeah, on some level, yeah. Which is unfortunate,
like,
for
everybody,
those women.
Everybody tries to call up the radio show and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna stump the radio host. Like, I'm gonna be the one," you know. And like, some women are actually genuinely asking for help and stuff, and like, you know, there's no help to be found there. Like, it's just horrible. It's like, it's not good shit, and it's like, it's just incel behavior. It's just a bunch of dudes, like, they wasn't fucking to begin with. They hear somebody who like is in a cheap suit on YouTube say like all the shit that they already thought in their head before they even clicked on this fucking video, and then he said, "See, he's got some good points." And it's like, why? Because the YouTube man agrees with you? Like, come on, what the fuck?
Because the YouTube. Oh man. Oh, Logan. Okay, so. It's the segment of Logan's got beef with Kevin Samuels post-mortem. Let's go.
Fighting him like it's Weekend at Bernie's.
All right, round one. Logan.
That's a dated reference. That shows my age. That right there.
Oh, and I didn't actually catch what you said. I was still laughing.
I said I'm fighting him like it's Weekend at Bernie's. You ever seen Weekend at Bernie's?
No.
Oh, see, that's how old I am.
You're only older than me. You're not even older than me, but like
I know, and somehow I've seen.
Jeez, bro.
You've never seen. I can't believe you've never seen Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend at Bernie's is okay, but Weekend at Bernie's 2, that's better.
Oh, it's a film. Okay.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Oh, okay.
What else are you gonna see? Like,
I thought it was like some type of show, like
a play.
No, I thought it was just a show like Boy Meets
Oh
World
my god, Weekend at Bernie's as a play would be like, somebody do that. That would be brilliant. Oh, you gotta watch the movie Weekend at Bernie's first.
Okay.
Figure out how to watch it. I'm not gonna tell you how to run your life, but do that.
Okay.
Tell me about method acting.
Good segue. Okay. So method acting begins with Lee Strasberg.
Isn't it 2 guys that do the method acting?
I mean, it might have been multiple. He's the one that I hear the most about. And Lee Strasberg, like most actors, learned some technique from Stanislavski, who is basically the godfather of what is modern acting. Basically, without his tutelage, without what he was doing in Russia with Anton Chekhov, acting as we know it today wouldn't be to the level and intensity it is. It would still be, you know, outward emotion showing, like trying to show that we're doing the part rather than actually being in the part, if that makes sense.
Humphrey Bogart type shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Where they just like kind of stroll in the scene.
Woe is me.
Yeah.
Woe is me, my lord. Please help me, for I need it. I'm so distraught. Can't you tell I'm distraught, audience? I am distraught, audience. I'm so distraught. Rather than actually, you know, being connected to, you know, text or your actual emotions and expressing that to people and having them believe you. Yeah. Because it's still entertaining, but that was the difference. You know what I mean? Between like older styles of acting and what Stanislavski was able to teach and like, you know, form. And people studied Stanislavski, as you should. To this day, I will tell you, no matter where you are, where you're from, you want to learn acting? No problem. Just go study some Stanislavski. You'll be fine. It's literally all you need. Like, I shit you not. And that's why it pisses me off sometimes, Logan, with all these other techniques. Because literally, you want to go learn some acting. Cool. Go pick up something from some Stanislavski and then just commit to the practice and the craft. You'll be fine. But you want to know what happens in the acting industry, in the fields, especially amongst theater? You see artists and actors sometimes, they have this thing called an ego. Oh, right. We all have those. But, you know, when your profession is getting on a stage and having people adore you or, you know, connect with you or be touched by the art that you do, sometimes your ego can take a turn for the worse. Sometimes you like to think that you could develop something that could change the game. Okay. And you see Lee Strasberg, what he did, especially at the time, he learned from Stanislavski and was like, I think we can do a little bit better than this. I think we can do a little bit better than this and get more out of the work and do more. And so I believe it was him and a few others, they created like the Actor Studio or some bullshit like that. But the point is, in creating the method, all Lee Strasberg was doing was bringing some younger people together who would become younger students who fell in love with his bullshit, most likely, and saying, all right, this is how Stanislavski did it. This is how I do it. Okay. Now, if you're a well-known actor, you know, you're getting paid, you're teaching people, as Lee Strasberg would, you have some credibility. And if you're a salesman, you know, all you really need to establish is some decent credibility and then make the person believe they need your product. Mm-hmm. So now if we translate that to, you know, theater and acting, now if Lee Strasberg, who's like an established actor, comes up to you and you're an actor who's like, I don't really know myself well enough and I don't know the techniques or whatever, I don't know what to really do. And Lee Strasberg comes up to you and is like, I mean, I could show you a thing or two, make you an actor. That probably sounds like a good deal to you.
You're getting to this point where I feel like you're talking about like somebody kind of getting swindled and hoodwinked. And I know you don't believe in method acting, but let's slow down. I
was just giving some background, but I know, like
little biased little man. What is
really no bias?
What is method acting?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so getting past how Lee Strasberg got people to you know study method acting. Method acting, for lack of a better definition, because I'm not Merriam-Webster, is when you get so into a role, you have to bring it outside of the stage, outside from in front of the camera.
It's like you becoming the role, right?
Yes, but in real life, which is the place where you're not supposed to bring it, because that's literal textbook definitions of insanity. But we're not even going to get to that yet. But the point is, method acting is saying, rather than just keeping all the work you're supposed to be doing on the stage or in those spaces where that would be best in front of the film, you bring it out into the real world, and it doesn't matter who gets in the way. You're this character now. Mm-hmm. And so now the real world has to deal with you as that character, regardless of who the character is. Now, if your character's like, let's say you're a bunny handler, and you're out in the real world being a bunny handler. Okay. I mean, that's mostly harmless, right?
Right.
You know, hey, hello, how you doing, person? You know, I'm a bunny handler. It's my pride and joy. Someone's gonna be like, oh, that's nice, that's sweet. Let's imagine, though, you're playing a fucking sociopath. A sociopathic murderer, for instance. And you want to take that into the real world. And all of a sudden, there's enough of you in there to be like, all right, I don't take it far enough to murder someone, obviously. Right. But what if sociopathic murderer had a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something, was like, well, I could play the part with them and, you know, have them go through horrible shit just so I can get into character. Mm-hmm. Because you see, method acting is literally go as deep as you can, regardless of your environment. Now, I don't know about you, but in life, we as human beings, that's not exactly how it works. We don't go, hey, you deal with whatever I pull out of myself. Haha, just deal with it. Not usually how it works. But method acting tells you, as the actor, as the artist, to go ahead and do that, regardless. I'm in the role. I need to do this for the role. The reason I don't like it personally, you say I'm biased, but I'm not, is because it's unnecessary.
What makes it unnecessary?
Because if you properly, you know, understand certain techniques, if you're properly in tune with yourself, you can literally get all you need for a believable character that can win you awards from just that. You don't have to take it outside of the stage. You don't have to take it outside of the spaces where you're building your character. But someone, Lee Strasberg, made some people believe that you did need to do that, or that was the goal. That was what was going to make it. That was going to make you make it.
There have been a great deal of method actors over the years who have won great awards and acclaim, though. So,
yeah, true. There have been plenty who have done the same without.
would it not then be hard to say that this might not be something that you need as an actor?
Wait, phrase that again. I'm sorry.
Is it hard? Doesn't it make the argument that you don't need it a little bit that much harder to believe when there are so many good examples of people who use the method, especially like I think Marlon Brando is the greatest example of like a method actor, right? He's like somebody who, yeah, he's like, might as well be like, not to be like all punny, but he's the godfather, right? So he's like he's the godfather of method acting, because that's the one we think about when we think about like method acting. Like you get to think about like Leonardo DiCaprio and like people like that as well. But like, and like you do have your worst examples like Jared Leto. Like that's a pretty
disgusting.
That's
honestly.
Yeah, he's the worst.
Fact that the industry allows that bullshit is crazy.
But it's like these people, they do win awards for their performances. Like Jared Leto was in Suicide Squad, and he was horrible in Suicide Squad, but he was also in Dallas Buyers Club too,
which I hear was pretty.
Which his performance in that was like amazing, and crazy that they're just a couple of years apart, or if that. Like those two performances. Yeah. But like, doesn't it become harder to tell an actor, especially a budding actor, that, method acting isn't the way to go when it's so celebrated?
So for me, no, because there's many. You have to know acting and like care about, because, some people are just audience members. Some people are actual artists who want to, partake the journey. But like, for me, it's still a no, because there are so many actors who get there without method acting. You have Sidney Poitier, you have Denzel Washington, you have Bryan Cranston, you have Christoph Waltz, who's amazing. None of it needs method, but some people like to do method. So here's the thing. The actor's journey is the actor's journey. It's your journey. Mm-hmm. My problem really is that all it was, unfortunately, Logan, I know you painted it that way, because for me, that's all it was. It was swindling.
No, I wanted to give you something that,
No, I get it. For me, it was swindling. Yeah. So because you say that, it's like, oh, some of them win awards. It's like, there are plenty of people who win awards without it. And, method acting, there's always a debate of what killed Heath Ledger. Does it seem that worth it? I mean, unfortunately, I can. I know, yeah, but I can. That's one example. I'm not saying that has to be the burden of proof. I'm not saying that. Of course not. Right. But like,
you're saying it doesn't help.
No. And the reason, and once again, and I'm an actor myself, I've been able, and here's the other thing. I'm not even saying if method is something you really want to try, go for it. You, under no circumstances, can take method too far. Under no circumstances. Under none. As an actor, as a human being, as a person who cares about those around me, I can understand it, but you can't take method too far. I've, of course, myself thought of like being in character when I'm off stage. I want to maintain it so I have the character for when I get on stage. That's about as far as you need to take it. There's no reason to be outside some random place causing a ruckus and making people uncomfortable because you feel that's making you a better actor. It's not. You're a fucking asshole. Literally, almost every teacher I've had has literally explained it to me. There are spaces where we can use this power, this ability. Because acting is an amazing thing in its truth. To be able to step into, because what you're doing is legitimately stepping into someone else's shoes. And when you're an actual decent purpose, you have empathy like no other. I speak of myself when I say that.
I would comment and say it does seem a little weird.
Bro, you're literally, and you hear the stories about Jared Leto, who's, just one of many examples. Yeah, but you're literally just an asshole.
I mean, I like Daniel Day-Lewis is one of my favorite actors, right? I love everything he's in. Like I liked him in Lincoln. I liked him in what is the other one? Gangs of New York. There Will Be Blood is like my favorite movie, right? But I remember hearing a story where because he's a method actor, one of the things he did as a method actor was he stayed in character even when he was offset being Lincoln. Now,
mostly harmless, but
like that's mostly harmless.
But like, bro,
but that's so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Like,
and unnecessary.
Daniel Day-Lewis walk around as Abraham Lincoln for like 6 months is a lot. And so to me, it makes me feel like if I was going to like go along with what you were saying just now, I do see your point where like it is a little weird to think of like a man, like I'm an actor and I act, and it's like, okay, and it's like, but like for the next 6 months I gotta be Abraham Lincoln. It's like, on set, and it's like, no, I'm gonna like write it out. And it's like, well, why can't you just turn it off and on? Like that.
You know what,
see,
Logan?
That's what I mean. Like,
you know what, Logan? You bring up a very great point, which is what I was going to get to next. Because Laurence Olivier would have talks with certain method actors. I think he was like working with Brando. One of the jokes he said was, and he was like, worried because dude was trying to do a whole bunch to get ready for the character.
It was Dustin
Laurence
Hoffman,
Olivier,
yeah.
And Lawrence is just like, have you ever just tried acting, my boy? Because it's the point. You're supposed to be so good. That's why method is actually kind of like a disservice to you, because you're supposed to be able to so good. You go from being like, yeah, hey, Logan, yeah, I'm good, I'm myself, to being like, yes, 72 years ago, and make it somehow be believable. Right. Because there are things you can do to make sure you have the character. That's why the next thing I was going to talk about is why it's bullshit. Because all method acting is Stanislavski technique taken too far. Stanislavski teaches you about let's get into some basic stuff like objectives, super objectives, tactics, understanding the character, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So to basically start off the character, you have to find your super objective. What's the main goal of that character? You, the actor, playing, and you're allowed to refer to yourself as the character, which is the start of method in the first place, because that's the point. You are becoming the character.
Right.
Now, what's your super objective? What's the main goal? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking you. I'm just painting a picture.
Because I don't know.
No. I'm sorry. I looked in your face. I got into acting mode.
I did the fucking thing that Naruto does where he's just like, like he's like, yes, I know exactly what you're saying. I'm like,
I got a little bit too intense because we're talking about something near and dear to me. And no, I was not asking you rhetorical questions, but what's your super objectives? Right. Then we go about finding what the objectives are. The minor objectives linked to the super objective, helping you get to your super objective if those are there. Maybe there's a direct link between the start of a play or movie and you can get there immediately. Usually doesn't happen. There's some objectives in between.
Right.
Now, once we've established those, there are tactics to accomplish each objective. Okay. Now, when you're getting there, you have the basis almost for all you need to correctly play a character through your story. But you have to make it believable. You know what I mean? And there are different techniques to help with that. I think Alexander technique is an interesting one because that gets more in tune with your body. That I think is helpful. Psychosomatic reactions. I learned that, when I was, studying earlier on. And that helps you with stuff like learning how to cry in command. Very useful work. And you could apply that to Stanislavski. But otherwise, as long as you have super objectives, you have your objectives, you have the tactics needed, and you as the actor can figure out how to commit to those and make it sound pretty, if that's part of the character or whatever, That's all you need. When we get into method, because Lee Strasberg learned that, he knows that. Almost every actor across the planet at this point knows that. If they're good or worth anything.
So is method acting kind of like a very long shortcut then?
It's not even really the shortcut. It's just you're taking what Stanislavski's teachings were, and then you're going, all right, how much further can I commit? How do I make this more real? How do I make this more believable? This is what I feel I think, or this is what I think I need to do in order to get to that.
Well, I call it a shortcut because it seems like the objective of method acting is not that you would portray is not that you would try to make a character believable, right? Is that because you are being the character, you would be believable.
No,
so that's what I'm saying.
No, good point. And of course, a person of sense would make that statement, obviously. But no, dude, it's not even about like I am the character and now I'm definitely believable.
Mm-hmm.
It's still just like I'm doing this so people believe the character. It's just I'm so lost.
What's the difference? Yeah.
I don't have to think. Logan, in truth, there actually isn't a difference. But what you're saying is I could skip this because I am the character now.
Okay.
That's all you're really saying. That's
that's what I'm saying. Is that
you're
is
like,
that
I am the character, and it's like, no. The fact is, they're still, despite them being so far gone, they're still doing that so that when they get on a stage or in front of a camera, they're believable. And if they're not doing that, Logan, and they just really are the character, then they're probably not doing work because they don't care about getting in front of the stage, getting on the stage, getting in front of the camera anyway.
I feel like Jared Leto is like the worst method actor.
Well, I mean, he's young, bro, and he's a musician. I mean, not that young. He was like a musician.
40 or 50 years old.
What? I thought he was in his 30s. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been around for a long time.
And he was known as a musician first for 30 Seconds to Mars. I liked some of the
really?
music,
I didn't know that shit.
Jared Leto's the lead singer for 30 Seconds to Mars.
I did not know that.
The early music especially is actually pretty solid. But then he started acting. Maybe that's what he thought would be best for him. I don't know why. I mean, when you're coming from different,
people like
crafts,
looking at him. It's like that's how that happens.
And sometimes people like it happens, but sometimes you want to be taken serious. And when you've committed so much of your life to one craft, it's hard to jump into another. Maybe you feel like you have to do drastic things. Right. I wouldn't know because I'm an actor who started rapping and now a vocalist, and I haven't had to do a single bit of that. I just had to learn the music. But in terms of like continuing on, in terms of like why method acting is just because like. You don't have to do that. You literally don't. You don't have to make someone around you uncomfortable. Understand? Yes, of course, we're actors. We know what we need to do. We know what drives us. But nonetheless, there are still people around you who you'll be working with who you should be considerate of. Now, should they be considerate of you in your process? Yes, because there is a process. Now, once again, like I said, method acting is really only bad if you take it too far. Otherwise, all of us might get off stage and be like, I want to maintain character, so when I come back, I'm good.
Do you feel like Leonardo DiCaprio cutting his hand on Django Unchained and then like smearing his actual blood all over Kerry Washington's face is like taking it too far?
Yes. I didn't know he did that. You're disgusting, bro. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, he did.
I love Leo, but what the fuck's... Kerry let him do that?
I mean, I think it's just fucking shocking when it's happening. I mean, I think she's probably also in character as well, but like at the same time, it's
and
just
maybe like you not go out character. They had a character off. You not go out character me.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I hate this blood. Horrible, disgusting. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. If you was cool with that, Carrie, you need help too.
I think what happens is a lot of people like they look at that and they look at the movie and because the scene is pulled off and because it's fucking real and believable and you're in it, like when you're watching it, it's just like. We do this sick thing where we make the calculus that it was worth it, but it's like, is it worth it?
Because the goal got accomplished, but it was like the goal could have been accomplished. I've had plenty of time.
We could have done that fake. Like we could have done that not real.
Bro, I've had, I'm, not even a D-list actor yet, but I've had plenty of moments where people have come up to me. I've played asshole, toxic masculine characters, and people who know me are like, have literally looked at me, Logan, and I had one teacher I remember, I can't ever forget his response. I was like, what'd you think? And I was smiling my regular self, and he just looked at me like, and he was kind of like, because he just saw me, he's like, there's always that you did that a little bit too well, bro.
Yeah.
You did that a little bit too well, and I'm not sure about you. I'm not sure about you right now, but yeah, good job. I hope you're not really that person because you did that too well. It happens to me all the time. No need for method. Because yes, there is a method, and that's the other part. They called it the method, and it's like the only actual method, Stanislavski, because that's all you need. No one, literally, Logan, and I've read Lee Strasberg. I've read from another man named Harold Guskin, who has this book called How to Stop Acting. Good book, some good techniques, but no one, from what I've read, has transcended anything Stanislavski has established. Not a single fucking person, Logan. All I do is try to meet people, learn acting from people. Every time I'm learning acting from people, it's all Stanislavski. Lee Strasberg's method, Stanislavski. Just taken too far because, this is what I do to get into character.
So do you feel like it's an actual grift, or do you feel like it's just something that is not necessarily fake, but not necessarily good for us?
Unfortunately, there is preference, and yes, for me, it's just something that I know isn't necessarily good for us. People prefer that because every actor has their own process.
So you feel like there is some type of legitimacy to it, though.
In terms of the method?
Of the practice.
No, I just understand why people think they need to commit to it.
Okay.
Some actors, maybe you have... Listen, this isn't me saying to judge. Mm-hmm. Some actors, maybe it's difficult for you. And maybe you can't make the connections you need until you take it to that level. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, and you need to continue figuring it out because that just means you're not as good as an actor as you could be yet. That's all it literally means. I say that for myself. If I'm not believable to you, I shouldn't be having to go roll around in mud to make you think I'm some filthy monster or something like that. Mm. It just means I'm not working hard enough.
But
I didn't do my job.
You know what it is to truly be filthy.
I'm not doing this with you right now, bro, because it literally just annoys me because it's something. Because Logan, you have to understand, like, this isn't me speaking because this is how I've always been. Yeah. I was that dude trying to do method things like, oh, this is what all the great actors doing until I finally realized I was like, oh, wow, I'm just not actually a good enough actor if I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not actually making the connections between the text. I'm not actually committing to the level I thought. You know what I mean? That's all it really is.
Do you feel like, I know I keep asking you a lot of Leonardo DiCaprio questions, but like, I actually do like Leonardo DiCaprio as like an actor and a performer.
I'm sad to hear like he needs to do method
He needs
stuff.
to stop dating women that's like 20 years younger than him, but like, for what he does.
My business, but
it's weird. There's a chart where like all of his girlfriends are like 22, like all of them, and like none of them are older than that. But like, do you feel like he should have won for The Revenant?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. He played the shit out of that
really
role, bro.
I hate that movie.
You don't like Revenant, bro? I thought he played
you know
that
what
role
my
so
problem
well.
is with The Revenant is that like I saw it after he won the Oscar.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, and so like my expectations were maybe too high for the movie, which is crazy because that movie is like insane, right? It's very well shot. Like, no, that director, beautiful. He knows what he's doing. Like, I think he's the same director that did Dune. You know, like visually, like he knows what the fuck he's doing, and like the whole like everything about it is great, right? But like when I watched the movie, I'm like, he doesn't need the Oscar for this shit. Like, it's just like, it didn't.
Wow. Okay. I do unfortunately disagree. Dude, was he using method acting for that too?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I mean, he crawled into a dead horse. Like,
okay. Was the horse already dead?
Yeah. Well, it's a dead horse. Yeah.
Like, they didn't just kill the horse for him to crawl into, did he? Did they? He just found a horse and was like, all right.
No, I don't know where they got the dead horse from, but he crawled into a dead horse. It is concerning. I've never thought of it like that. I've never thought about
the problems with method.
Yeah, you don't think of all the fallout. Yeah.
Whose horse was that? Where he found a dead horse, bro? This is the problem with method, Logan. Because, otherwise, if someone was like, yo, I have a dead horse, it's my horse. I'll cut it open for you if you want to crawl into it. And you're an actor willing to do that? Okay.
He ate raw meat because of that one, too.
That's his business as well. If you wanted to, I don't think you should have to do that.
That's stupid. I think that was dumb. I just think there's a lot of shit that movie, to me, just does not deserve like him crawling around. Like, he eventually got up. Like, it's like... he didn't actually crawl for like 18 miles. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a movie.
It feels like he did.
No, it doesn't.
To me, it did. Yo, he killed that shit.
I've seen it. Like, I'm like, I get the story. The story's very sad. Like, he's got a Native American son. He's trying to get back to him. And it's like, it's
cool. I just generally thought he gave a really valid performance.
He did, but he's like, there's so many movies that he does that he gave a better performance in. Like, I'm not gonna be like mean and say like, oh, him in Great Gatsby was better. It wasn't, like, but like him in Gangs of New York is better. Him in fucking The Departed is better. Him in what else is better? There's a lot of Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Him in Inception is better than that movie.
No, that I would disagree.
No, all he's doing is playing Christopher Nolan, so like it works. Like, you thought I didn't know? You thought I didn't know, Chris?
So stupid. Anyway, back to method acting. He's got
Christopher Nolan's haircut in that movie. Like when they do the behind the scenes, they both have the same haircut.
Anyway, I disagree.
Yeah.
Back to method acting. So the thing I was trying to bring up earlier is why it became so popularized is because what happens in the acting field, when you're a young actor trying to make it, you're eating shit. You're taking shit from anyone.
Right.
You know, I've dealt with this experience too. Some people are going to try to, you know, there's a level. Some people are actually telling you that you're not doing well enough because you aren't. Some people just have egos. In terms of being taught acting, in order for a teacher to make a living, they have to, you know, show you their value. Some teachers do, and it's worth it, of course. It's always worth it to have a second opinion, and it's worth it to pay someone who's really working with you. Some people, it's a little bit much. I'm not saying Lee Strasberg wasn't good at what he did. Obviously, he's a respectable actor. He knew what he was doing. It's just all that really happened was he popularized a method because he was Lee Strasberg. He got a whole bunch of students, and then all those students went about. Same thing with like Sanford Meisner. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of Meisner. If that works for you, good for you, but also seems unnecessary. But like all those people did, they got some students, a good handful. Those students eventually went out, told more people, and all of a sudden these teachers would be coming around to places. Now I'm teaching my technique. When the real acting technique, because thank you, Stanislavski, because as an actor, I must thank you. But all you were doing was teaching me that as an actor, my job is to be excessively in tune with myself and then be able to commit to being someone else at a very, very high level. That's all acting is. That's my problem. You don't need all these teachers. You don't need to go learn from somebody else. You need to continue getting really in tune with yourself and figuring out how you can make your tools, meaning your mind, body, and spirit, work at making you present a character to an audience that makes them go, oh my God, what's that person's name? Such and such? Oh no, that's John Wilkes Booth. It has to be at this point. That is literally all you're doing. That is literally your entire job. Now, getting there is the hard part. And that's why there are so many teachers. That's why there are so many techniques sometimes. Like I said, I read a book from a man, Harold Guskin. The book was very useful. So it is useful to learn from other people and study up sometimes. But the fact is, like, all it really is you. And then you just have to work with someone who's going to help you know whether you're on point or not. That's all the director-actor relationship is.
There are great actors that are not believable in their character, but they're believable in their acting, though. Like Nicolas Cage, for example. Like, Nicolas Cage has never played like a character before. Like, that's not Nicolas Cage to like some weird degree. You know what I mean? Like, but like the amount of energy that he brings is like so entertaining, it's enthralling, and you're like there with him. Like, you know what I mean?
Now we're getting to a difference of opinion in terms of what acting is, because what you're describing is like old school, like you have a Hollywood face and then they bring a lot of energy, which is entertaining sometimes.
Well, technically Jack Nicholson is a method actor, but I wouldn't know that because there's a lot of movies where like he's so recognizable as himself.
And he's just like funny. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like weird. He is Jack Nicholson. You know what I mean?
That's how it
so
feels.
Like, yeah, that's how it feels. But like he technically is a method actor. Like he does use the method to act.
So
like,
to me, the only actual acting is character acting. That's the truth of it. Every actor, no matter whether it be Nicolas Cage or Sylvester Stallone, the fact is they're attempting to be a character. Whether you believe them as the character or not doesn't mean that that's not the goal. Like you said, you don't believe in Nicolas Cage playing the character.
But I believe in Nicolas Cage.
You like watching him. No, it's not about you believing in him. You like watching him.
No, that's believable. Sometimes. His performance is believable. Okay, let me say
so you got to make more sense of that because that's technically
let me give you something. If Nicolas Cage were to play Abraham Lincoln, right, I probably wouldn't believe that it's Abraham Lincoln I'm watching, but I would believe that the actions of the character on screen were believable to the actions of that character, even though it was Nicolas Cage. Like Nicolas Cage, that's what he does for his acting. You know, it's one thing to just be yourself on screen, but like he has this weird mind trick shit that he does to everybody when you watch him that like when he's not trying, that's when you like, this is a shitty Nicolas Cage movie. But like when he's like in a good Nicolas Cage movie, you're like, I believe what the fuck is going on right now. That like this individual would be doing these actions but I also believe that Nicolas Cage would also do these actions. Like it's like that. Like it's like that's what I mean.
And that's a separate phenomenon too, because real acting is just character acting. Mm-hmm. That's what we're all trying to do, whether it is like you described Nicolas Cage or like Sylvester Stallone.
Is that like anti-method acting though, where like instead of trying to be the character, they are the character? They are actually the character?
Well, do you mean that in the sense you just described with Nicolas Cage, where you believe that he'd also do some shit like that?
Yes. And so therefore it makes the action on screen believable.
And would that be the opposite of method acting?
Yeah.
Technically, I guess when you think about it. But once again, I was going to describe what you're describing that doesn't actually have to do with acting. That's actually kind of your relationship with Nicolas Cage, how you feel about Nicolas Cage. Mm. You realize that though, right? Does that make sense when I say that to you?
Yes, but there is something there.
Well, what is there? And like you said, you didn't believe Nicolas Cage as the character, but you were willing to believe the character because you believe Nicolas Cage would do some shit like that. And but therefore also watching him doing it.
No, what I'm saying is the actions that he takes on screen are not out of context of the character, even though I don't believe like he's Abraham Lincoln, but I do believe that the actions that he takes as Abraham Lincoln is correct is in context with everything that's going on. Whether he's overacting in the moment or not, it's not out of context of what is happening in the scene.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's what I mean.
That makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, it's not that he's not acting. It's that like...
Well, of course not. No. That's
is that like beyond his own recognizability, like the actions that he uses and does, I believe, like for the movie I'm watching. You know? Like I'm not taken out of the movie format. Now in a bad Nicolas Cage like performance, I am. That's the same thing with like Adam Driver, which is why I bring them up so often. Is that like they do the same shit. Like it's the same type of over personality type of acting. Whereas like I believe that this is happening, you know, when I'm watching it. Like it's like watching like some bullshit happen on the street where you like watching like homeless people yell or some shit. Like you believe that shit's happened. Like you don't know why. You just believe like, yeah, this is my reality right now. Like that's how it feels.
Well,
it's like,
that on one level, if someone is, because you know every actor is different, and as long as they can get you to that point and don't take you out of the illusion, because that's what we call it in the theater.
Okay,
you don't pull anyone out of the illusion, and it's the same thing for film. There is this illusion. We're not actually seeing this. This isn't actually happening in most cases. But we're in the illusion and we're connected. So if someone's not taking you out of the illusion, they're doing the job. How they do the job is what's up for debate. And it's just, for me, like, method just isn't necessary. Now, there's some levels where, you know, if there's some things you can do for getting into the character. And if that's what you need as an actor, okay. Because that's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You know, your path is your own. I just tell people when I see people like Method and Meisner, I'm just like, oh my God, like you don't need to be doing all of that. You need to be connecting with yourself and then connecting with text. And I mean, like you need to be connected with yourself. So you need to be good. So you don't feel weird jumping into someone else's skin. You know what I'm saying? Then you connect with the text and then you put it all together.
Is that not a privileged position to take?
For me? How so?
Well, because we'll wrap this topic up in a second, but I just... Mm-hmm. This is very interesting to me. So like, is that not a privileged position to take, to be like, you just need to connect with yourself? Because what if I'm not there with myself right now? What if I don't have a good relationship with myself? Should I not be an actor now because I don't?
Honestly, Logan, what I'm going to say is, because that is a journey for you to decide. Mm-hmm. But if you're not good with yourself, because that's all of us in the beginning, and you're not willing to do the work, because it's not about, I'm sorry, let me clarify. It isn't, unfortunately, it isn't even about liking yourself. This isn't about, hey, I love that's not what Mitchell's saying already. I hope you love yourself and work on that journey, please, because humans need that, period. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying be in tune with yourself so you know what your body's capable of doing. You know what you feel comfortable saying. That type of deal.
Okay.
If you're not willing to do that, then no, you might not want to be an actor. Because unless you get lucky, you got a really pretty face and people just want you in that capacity or something, okay. Otherwise, yes, I'm legitimately saying if you're not willing to get in tune with yourself and see how your body works, how you feel about saying certain things, how you say certain things, how you're capable of saying certain things, acting may not be the place you want to be in unless you have a connection with someone, you get lucky. Because it's, for me, that's not even like, that's a requirement, bro. It's a requirement. And then you have to be able to understand, the character, every actor, no matter what we think about them. Some people think Jack Black's like, maybe they think he's a joke. Jack Black is not a joke. Jack Black's in tune with himself, in tune with the characters he's trying to play. Now, it doesn't mean everyone has to do it the same, because we're not all the same. But that's, to me, like, that's a requirement. If you're not doing that, you're not going to be able to get to the places you want to get as an actor. Just point blank, period. And if this is me connecting to you, like straight up Mitchell to Logan, like, dog, if you're not doing that, it's not going to work. Whether you direct films or not, if you want to start acting, if you're not willing to do that on some level, no one's saying it has to be perfect yet. Shit, for some actors, it may not be perfect for Angela Bassett. Which I would doubt, but like, it may not be. But the point is, if you're not willing to do that work, because it is part of the work, it is part of the craft, I hope you have another way of getting work. And maybe there's some other, form or method you're using that I'm unfamiliar with. But if you're not willing to, that's the bare minimum, dog.
I did watch this thing this one time where it was like talking about method acting, and they were talking about like, a lot of men, they have troubles with their co-workers, like, when it comes to method and stuff, because they become assholes. Like,
this is what I'm
Jared
saying.
Leto's like sending used condoms in the mail and shit,
Bro, it's like, okay, why are you doing this?
But like, on the other hand, they were saying that like a lot of female actresses that do the method, you never hear from. So part of that, like, I think you brought up earlier about like the ego part and like, how that ego like decides to show itself. There's a difference between that in men and women, and
that is true.
Yeah, and so like
society plays a part in that as well.
It's very striking to me that like when that monster like comes out for like men, it's very external and it affects everybody around them, Whereas for women, not so much, because like they're not allowed to use the world around them in that way. You know what I mean?
No, that's another point.
Which I think, to your point, does say something about method acting, which is like how much of it is you doing your thing the way you think you are, efficient. And being like, how much of that is that when you still have those limits of the world around you. You're only doing that because you're allowed to, So you are pushing the limits. You're sending people like pig's blood and shit like that because you think you can get away with it at some level, which is, if there's a part of you that thinks that, then there's a part of you that's still not in character.
Yes, exactly.
So, I don't know.
Point blank period. If you want to dabble in, there's plenty of techniques. All I'm saying is they all stem from Stanislavski. You could go research that, except for like Alexander technique, because that was a really different type of acting. And when you blend the two of those, you get some really solid acting. But method, Meisner, straight from Stanislavski, basically, just a different type of approach. Harold Guskin teaching me about how to stop acting. Thought the book was a really good read. Thought the process he went through works. It's Stanislavski. We all start there. Like, he is the fucking godfather of what modern acting is and should be. You could research that yourself. If for anyone looking to get into acting, and this is my last thing, the reason I say beware of method, because there's some levels to it that I can understand that I've partaken myself. Don't ever take it too far. I'll smack the shit out you. But anyway, like, it's your process. You know what I mean? How it's your craft. Nonetheless, if you take method too far, it's dangerous and, once again, unnecessary. For all the actors out there, go read some Stanislavski. Really embody that, what he was teaching. Then go take a look internally at yourself. For real. Because in order to jump into someone's skin, you have to really be in touch with yourself, unfortunately. Then, when you're doing character work or working on stuff, then you have to really identify with the text and remember what came before. If you're doing all of that, I promise you, you'll be fine. Promise you'll be just fine. That's all I have to say about that.
I do want to get a quick word in about about the situation with Roe v. Wade. We're not going to do a whole drawn out thing because I don't have a whole lot to say about it. Not in a bad way either, but all I really want to say is because like what happened is if you don't know, I don't know how you don't, you're living under a rock. But if you live under a rock and you still able to like listen to the show anyways, what happened is over the week, somebody leaked an opinion that came down from the Supreme Court that came from, I believe, Judge Alito or something. And basically it outlined how the Supreme Court was planning to overturn Roe v. Wade, which was basically the case that provides the constitutional protection of abortion based off of privacy rights, right? And the Supreme Court, every Supreme Court justice, when they're nominated, they always get asked the question, do you feel like Roe v. Wade is settled law? Do you feel like this? Do you feel like that? Just so like, the liberals can vote for them and give them their nomination, which they all said that, this is settled law, at least the Republican ones, because those are the ones that get to ask that question. The liberal ones don't get asked that question as much as,
right. I get you.
So what happened is they overturned it anyways. And this is not official yet. Okay. So we don't have to be completely doom and gloom about it, but we should be very aware and we should be in the street and doing your protests and doing whatever action is necessary to get this thing to change, because come June is when the official decision will come out. But because it's not there yet, judges can still change their minds and they can still overturn their own opinions and give a different outcome towards this vote, right? And there's a whole plethora of problems that would come out of it, not just for abortion, but for other types of legal rights, because other types of legal rights were mentioned in the opinion, such as interracial marriage and gay marriage and all types of other
those
stuff.
Are on the same,
yes. So what I do want to say is that, because I've been listening to a lot of different opinions from a lot of different people, and I had a lot of different things I wanted to say about it, and I feel like everybody's just trying to state their case about, why abortion should be a thing or why it shouldn't be a thing. And to me, it just comes down to the fact that if you're not able to decide for yourself when you want to be pregnant and when you don't want to be pregnant, you don't have any rights. You don't have the rights you think you have. You have to be okay with the fact that, if you're okay with that, you have to be okay with the fact that, you're not able to be a full person in this country the way, I am, as a dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the cold hard truth.
Yeah. Because, if a guy was able to get pregnant, you could get an abortion just about anywhere. It would not be a thing. A guy would be like, why do I got to be pregnant right now when I don't want to be pregnant? That would just be the end of the conversation. You know what I mean? And women are in an unfortunate position in our society where we are always questioning, their use to society based off of their womanhood. Right. And I think that's just I just think it's bullshit. And I feel like I don't want to spend
because it is bullshit.
It is bullshit. And I don't
have to spend the whole thing on that.
I don't want to spend a whole thing on what the actual truth is, that if you want an abortion, you should be able to get an abortion.
Regardless.
Period.
It's just, and that's one thing I also want to say. And because I had posted up this post on Facebook and it was so, all right, you have feelings about, the cells and all that. You have feelings about the life. You might have feelings on abortion. Perhaps you're like, yo, it's the potential for life. I understand that. I do. I have the ways I feel about abortion. I'm pro-choice, not because I like abortion. I wouldn't want a potential life in somebody's womb to be snuffed out, but that isn't the point. Now, that's how I personally feel. How I personally feel has nothing to do with someone else's body. The fact of the matter is, we say her body, her choice, because, simply put, it's her body, the only person who should be able to make a decision. Now, if you're married, you know what I mean? That's between you and your husband, but still, he doesn't have a right. It's still your body. But I could understand, the dilemma there. But nonetheless, it's her body. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we could talk about how we feel about a baby being formed at 8 months. I mean, there's some semantics to be had about that, but that's not even what people usually are talking about. You know
I
what
feel
I mean?
like no, because this is what we always get bogged down into the details of why is the person having the abortion? Why is they do this? And what is this? And how many weeks should we do this? And how many? Business. It's not just none of our business. We've made it our business to the point where even if a woman has a miscarriage, they're not treated well by the nursing staff or by the people who have their own opinions that treat them. Mm-hmm. And that all comes out of this. And it's just unless we can just go from this point in society where a woman doesn't have to be pregnant just because she gets pregnant. She doesn't need to be if a man doesn't need to take care of his own kids after he has them, then what are we saying then? Again, if you don't want to be pregnant, you shouldn't have to be pregnant.
Have to be, yeah. If that's your choice, that's your decision.
It don't matter what the context is. You don't want to be pregnant. Some people are well, some people try to, and they mean well, and they say some people try to describe abortion as this convenient thing where you just get an abortion because it's out of convenience. If you want to get an abortion out of convenience, get an abortion out of convenience. If it's more convenient to you to have an abortion
for your life, yeah, none of your business. Sorry. You know what's worse though, Logan? And the fact we know it's just all bullshit, because it's one, it's her choice, but two, okay, so you're not okay with abortion because you think the life in there matters. Mm-hmm. I just wish you gave a fuck about that life after it was born.
For even people who want to have children, they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck, bro. You're not improving the foster care system. You're not telling a woman that when she gets pregnant, we'll give you some extra support because there's a life in there that needs it. You're not giving her any what is it? You're not giving her any maternal leave. You don't give a fuck, dude. It's on principle that there's a body there. And you know what happens in America, unfortunately, as soon as a child is born, you get something called the Social Security number, mm-hmm. which is another country's way of knowing you'll be able to provide this much funds and shit like that and all that bullshit. So it's just fuck you, you're lying and you're full of shit. That's the real problem, is you don't actually care about the woman or the fucking child in question at all. You know what I'm saying? So if she's saying she doesn't want to have it because of the pressures that come with having a child, and usually when women are wanting to get abortions, when they find out, they usually, before things get really out of hand anyway, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's you don't actually give a fuck or care about them. You're a lying sack of fucking shit.
They know that. They know
that, bro. It's she should have the right. It is her body. Body autonomy is a thing, whether you believe in it or not. It? Yo, and there's the question. Because sadly,
you
it is not in our country. You gotta really
ask that question if,
Sadly, the answer is no, it's not in our country. That is the sad
if you don't
truth.
want to have an abortion, don't have an abortion.
Yeah.
All you dudes out there, if you don't want to have an abortion, don't have them.
And if you do, can you have your reasons? Which are your reasons and none of our business? What?
I said all you dudes out there, if you don't want to have an abortion, don't have
them. Okay. No, I didn't hear that at all.
But it's just, I don't know. It's just
such bullshit,
just something that should be really be simple, but it's made complicated because people are trying to make it a complicated thing that how you decide you want your future, your body or whatever to be should not be in your hands in that way. You know what I mean? And a lot of the opinions around it is just they're dumb. They're just dumb opinions. A lot of y'all don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I posted a picture on the Milk and Toast story on Instagram where it was like, you know, it was 2 embryos and like there was like, you know, which one of these is going to turn out to be a human. And then like the people automatically started saying that, oh yeah, but it's going to turn into a human life and you can't just say this and that. And it's like, well, okay, well, the picture on the left is like two fetuses. And it's like the picture on the left is an elephant. The picture on the right is a dog. So which one is going to be you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of the time you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And you should stop. You should just stop. You don't know how life works. You don't know how life comes to be. You don't know what a fucking zygote is. You don't know all these fucking things. Mm-hmm. And like the way that you make like a fucking determined opinion, like just like that about somebody else's condition and life and everything else is insane.
You know, Logan, you don't know what's really funny. What the funniest part for me is that if you really care so much about unborn life, because you know you think there's life there, I hope you never eat eggs. I hope you never eat eggs. I know you do, but
that's why we get out of here.
I hope you never eat eggs. For real.
No, that's fine.
I hope you never have veal. Since you care so much about life.
I am such a monster. Gross. I love veal.
You're gross. Anyway.
It's so good.
Hope you're all vegan since y'all seem to care about life so much.
Oh, no. They don't believe in that.
No, not at all.
Mitch, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything you want to say to people before we go?
Shit, man. We talked about a lot of shit. You know, I just hope, Johnny, we can find the truth about the Depp Heard case. It's a bad situation. No one should really take sides. Let's just see what the truth is. Acting. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. Study some Stanislavski. Get real in tune with yourself. Always make sure you're committing to the character. Make sure you understand the text. You'll be fine as an actor. Roe v. Wade being overturned. You stupid motherfuckers. Honestly. Like, I just can't take it anymore because it's like you have to, if we fight for freedom, we have to fight for everyone's freedoms. And that's how I feel. And it's just like, right. You stupid motherfuckers, yo. That's all I really have to say about it, bro. You stupid, insensitive, inconsiderate motherfuckers. It's her body. It is her choice, regardless of how we feel about it. There is no, if there's any person who gets to have a say on anything involving her body, that's going to be the person, her spouse or whatever, directly connected to her who actually gives a fuck about her. Otherwise, everyone else can shut the fuck up. Simple.
And even then, like you said before, it's like...
It's still her body, bro.
Yeah.
So shut the fuck up, honestly. Like...
The fact that some people are like your rapist should have like, you know, a say in it. It's like that is like high level fuck you.
Oh, like, you know what? Like, yeah. Well, we'll give him a say. Tell him meet me at this address. We'll hear him out. We'll hear him out real good. I promise. Yeah, tell him. Yeah, don't mind me and my homeboys in the back. No, but we'll hear him out real good.
Don't mind my baseball bat.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, don't mind none of that. Yeah, come through. Let us hear you say real quick. Nonsense.
That's crazy.
Anyways, nonsense, bro.
What do I got to say about all you guys and all your fuckery?
Shit.
No. Yeah, the Amber Heard. I hate talking about celebrities, but like I feel like we just stumbled into that one.
But there's I know, but remember, there's a lot to be learned from this case particularly.
There is. And what I want everybody to learn how to do is just chill the fuck out. Like, just chill the fuck out. Chill out. Okay?
Just a little bit, please.
Like, a lot of you are just letting your Kevin Samuels show a little bit too hard.
And he's passed, so let it be gone with him.
Yes. We can let that energy go into the ground with him. All right? Like, let's just chill out. And yeah, you don't have to say rest in peace to horrible people. Stop. Just like leave people alone. That's what I want people to do, is leave people alone. If you are the type of person that you have to grieve like horrible people and you're kind of dusty and horrible yourself, then do that. You know what? But leave other people alone. If you have your own opinions about abortion and you have your own little opinions about who should carry a baby and who shouldn't carry a baby, leave people alone, because it's not your baby. You don't even like, how can you get mad at hypothetical babies that you don't understand? Like, you don't know. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, you don't know any of these people and you're getting mad. You don't know their position. Like, these people, what if I was a woman, right? And I wanted to get an abortion and you just like fucking raged out, but like I'm like a crackhead, but you didn't know. Now what? Now you want me to have my crack baby and then make another crackhead that you're just going to lock up later in the future? Like, where are we going? What's the aim? What's leave people alone. Please, let's just leave each other alone. I don't mean that in the weird libertarian way where people are like, just let's all have our abortions and guns and be gay. Like, no, there is some shit that we shouldn't do, and I understand that. And that's like, somebody could be like, well, Logan, can't this be? No, because this literally does not have anything to do with you. This has something to do with other people's bodies. Nobody else is affected by this. I love when people are like, Logan, what if your mom aborted you? Then you wouldn't have to deal with my annoying ass. Like, I don't know. Like, I might
be better off. Like, not trying to be that guy, but I.
It's so funny. Off. This is like literally the wrong generation to like say
to
that
ask that question.
We're all just like suicidal. We're like all like, we don't want to be here. Like,
this shit don't work for us. What you mean, man? Like, part of me wants to go back in time off myself real quick.
We're the ones that made up. We're the ones that made up the meme.
We need therapy.
That like that like two people fucked in 92 and now we got to be here. Like, we made that. That's ours.
Yeah, that was us. That was us. Straight up. Wasn't me, but like identified real quick.
Like, we all understood, so we're not the right people for this.
Whatsoever.
As always, if you liked the show, you like our unhinged behavior.
Why wouldn't they, man? We're amazing.
Share the show, like the show, subscribe to the show, so you can always hear more of us right on time. I don't have much to say. Have a good one, guys. I hope you guys had a great like Cinco de Mayo. Oh, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Like, while we're talking about this, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, the ones that were down for us forever. I was gonna make a joke because some of you girls nasty. You'd be like, if you ever sucked my titty before, you say Happy Mother's Day to me. No, you freak. Leave me alone.
Oh yeah, that shit was funny though. That was funny.
Is so stupid. Like, that's such a weird thing to say. Like, what am I supposed to say on Father's Day? Thank you.
I don't know if that would work the same, to be honest.
I know, Mitch. That's what the pause is for.
But
yeah. Have a good night. Have a good evening. Have a good afternoon. Have a good breakfast. Have a good morning. All that shit. Have a good drive to work. Have a good whatever you're doing right now. Say bye to the people, Mitch.
Farewell.
All right. I have been your host, Logan. This is episode 49 of the Milk and Toast podcast.
Oh, wow.
And we're out. Bye. Say bye. Yay.